This is what it is. This is an uber raw reaction to the recent. I guess we're going to call it teaser, or is this the official trailer? Anyway, whatever. Something for Sandman season 2 has been released, which will give us a preview of season 2. I will make a very short note about the Scientology factor. I've covered that in many other videos. I will cover it again, but I will bracket that for this discussion and just concentrate on the story. So season 1 obviously adapted the early Sandman comics, and this is getting into the stories in the later comics. And it's well, I'm judging the trailer itself. So some things looked really amazing, but this is just a dilemma with Netflix. And again, I want to be fair. I've not watched too much of The Witcher. I want to see a little bit more. The Witcher seemed to have the same dilemma that some things look visually impressive, but many things looked, holy cow, it looked terrible. It looked really fake. And I'm someone that likes the Star Wars prequels, but there's a lot of things there that look really visually janky. I don't know. And again, whether it's due to the scandal, Neil Gaiman's problems, they're rushing production, but some stuff looks very not finished. So, and again, I understand some of this is murky for a reason because it's a much more depressing story. It seems they're going to go with the story that, well, our main character is going to die, right? That is the story, but they're intertwining it with a love story. So I guess he's going to save his lover before he dies, and he's going to let the dreaming survive, but he will die. And that's going to be the Sandman season 2 story. And they're pumping it up with a lot of action. And if you know Neil Gaiman in comics, he really doesn't do action scenes. Like action scenes and Neil Gaiman kind of don't go together. Now he has done some traditional superhero comics. That's a myth. People think he only does his hoity-toity abstract paintings. No, he's done Spawn. You know, he's done quote normal superhero books. So this felt ironically much more superhero-ish than I expected. It feels like a very traditional superhero narrative. The lover will go to hell to save the loved, and he will sacrifice himself. Which, if you know Sandman comics, I want to be very clear. I do admire what Neil did with the comics, but I'm more of an Alan Moore kind of guy. That's just where I am. So this felt way more conventional than I think the Sandman comics are, and don't really represent the flavor of the Sandman universe, which is really wacky and crazy. We did get a little sense of that kind of anarchic energy. Like there's a scene where they're kind of doing a theatrical play that felt way more Neil Gaiman than a lot of this trailer. But again, from what I understand, Neil had a lot of input, so I guess he was pleased where they were going. I will say for the record, I don't like that the Game of Thrones actress is doing what she's doing. I don't think she was good in season 1. I'm not seeing anything that improves upon the season 1 performance. She's not a bad actress, but I don't think she was right for the role. I don't think she's good for the role. That's my stance. It just feels very shouty, very one note. But that's me. So some of the acting is subpar, and I'm still not a big fan of this Black Death interpretation. I mean, this is Neil saying on a hand or whatever Scientology Bibles that he swears that she's a great actress. I'm still not seeing that. It's very plain. But that said, overall the acting I think is strong by the entire cast. I'm noticing some people are missing, or they're not being well showcased. Like where's Patton? Is Patton Oswald out? I don't know. So this feels very all over the place and very chaotic. However, the basic story seems solid, and it's a lot of this is in the comics. This like something like this did happen in the comics, not like this, and that's basically what you're getting with the Sandman with Netflix. It's like something like this did happen, but not like this. So it's a little confusing. So I think if you're a comic book purist, you'll be mostly happy, but I think a lot of comic book purists are going to be like, why are you changing everything so much? I don't know. I don't know. My basic verdict for season 1 was very strong, but it was the woke thing did sometimes get really annoying. However, most of it is in the comics. I wish they kept more to the comics because, frankly, the original comics were still stronger. But you know, it was a decent adaptation. This looks like it's going to be the same thing. I would have to say, again, trying to be not biased despite all the scandals and problems and to put it mildly, canonical violations. Because again, like it or not, believe it or not, Sandman is still technically part of the DC universe. So how this really fits in with the DC universe, I have not a clue. That was a big problem with Sandman in its original version. Like, how does this work with the world of Superman and Batman? I don't know. It's beyond my pay grade. And again, some things are not legitimately Neil's fault or Netflix fault. Like they just couldn't do things for legal reasons. But still, it feels like this is going to be good to above average. But it just doesn't feel like it's reaching the potential it should. Now, granted, it's Sandman. I mean, this is literally the kind of comic book that cannot be adapted, no matter how high your budget. That said, it does look cheap in too many places, so that feels really weird. Why is it so cheap looking? I don't know. I don't know. That was very off-putting. And again, the dilemma with Sandman is he's not really an active protagonist. That's not the point of the character. He's just meant to be very inactive. So him switching to more active mode feels weird. It's a good actor. I think they chose the actor wisely, but yeah, this is going to be, I think, a little bit all over the place, just like this trailer. So I'm going to give the trailer, I think, a generous 6.5. It is above average. It is not terrible. It is just that. Is it a good trailer? No. There are still places like sound editing, visual effects don't look complete. So is this like a really rough cut and they're still finishing things, hopefully? Or it is what it is. They just have all this behind the scenes dilemmas and they're like, all right, we got to find a way to get rid of this thing because I have no doubt they've edited and changed a lot of the original story because it is what it is. The Scientology and sex scandals and all these things, they're just there now. So hopefully they didn't tamper too much with the story because, again, it wasn't that great from season one, but it was solid. I would recommend season one. You're gonna have to take, a deep breath because some of the changes were just mind-numbingly stupid. I just don't know why they changed so much. Um, Looks like the same thing. They're making a lot of dumb changes, but for the story that they're telling, I think it will hang together. Now, in terms of what fans will think, I think they're going to be mixed. I was very mixed on season one, but I can't say it's a bad season. I can't say it's really a great perfect season either. So I'm kind of stuck. So I would recommend it based on the trailer. I think it was impressive enough, but it just seems like they're just never getting the full thing correctly. Now, is that with Neil's guidance or lack of guidance? I don't know. But Neil at this point is off the project. So any chance of last minute saving, that's probably gone. So I'm going to guess some episodes are going to be really, really bad. Really, really bad. Because good or bad, whether you like Neil or not, he is one of the best writers in the world. And he definitely was much more active with season one. But due to the scandal, I'm very fearful that these writers, left to themselves, are going to think we're better than Neil Gaiman. We're going to make it even more feminist and gay and stupid, and I'm sure they will. But the basic story seems fine. But again, it is not representative of Sandman. This feels like way, way too conservative. I mean, this is just not the flavor I get from reading the comics. The comics are meant to be way more, what's the word, experimental, mind blowing. There's even some things with Beth that they don't even bother doing here, and I'm like, really? And again, I don't want to spoil the comics, but they do some pretty crazy things with Beth. And here it's like, oh, she's just black woman trying to sound like a Snyder cut heroine, which she's not that good an actress, so she sounds kind of stupid. But again, above average, 6.5. I am going to be curious what they come up with, but I'm very nervous. It's going to be like, oh man, it's not going to be Andor season one and two. I know that it's not going to be the best writing of all time, but I don't know. I was hoping for a lot more than this, and it feels like it is what it is. They're shutting the thing down because they're scared about the scandals, and they're just okay. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up real quick. Alrighty then. So season two coming. Ready or not?